Glaube, der unabdingbare Glaube,
Faith, unconditional faith, that the Führer would do things right.
ist uns ja damals als der
He was represented in those days as God, well, akin to God,
Gottähnliche.
and that's how we saw him.
Das haben wir auch darin gesehen.
Es war ein Idol, es war ein halber Gott für uns.
He was our idol. He was a demigod. I tell you quite honestly, if someone had tried to shoot Hitler, I'd have leapt forwards and died for him. Nowadays, I know it was madness.
Und als Wahnsinn, ne?
Now, can you imagine if they did that for Hitler? Imagine what they're going to do for the Antichrist when he shows up. These people are thinking that Hitler, heavenly grace gave us Hitler. How about the Antichrist? And Hitler was just the man with the speeches and everything else. The Antichrist is going to have that ability, plus he's going to have the false prophet, who I believe will be one of the popes, you know. And of course the Antichrist himself will be a part of the papal system. I don't know if he'll be like considered the last pope or whatever, but that whole system there is tied into the Vatican. And look at how people drool over the Pope when he shows up. And now you'll have the Pope, and there beside him is this Christ guy. People are going to be just falling down, hitting the ground, worshiping the guy. And for those who say, I'm still not convinced, the false prophet and the beast also, they're going to be doing signs and wonders on top of it. So people are just going to be foaming at the mouth, worshiping the Antichrist. They did it for Hitler. It's going to be 1,000 times worse for the Antichrist. Let's watch this next video. And if you know Bible prophecy, this is very significant. Hitler was trying to perfect the Aryan nation, the race, the pure race of Germanic people. And he was going to all kinds of weird things. What he was trying to actually, if you look into the Nazi Party and look into what they were trying to do, they were sending expeditions to Tibet. Now, that's not where German people came from. Okay, if you study it out, that would be the Shemitic people. Okay, it's not Japheth, which is where the Germanic people came from. Go back to that right after the flood. But what he was trying to discover, actually, were the people who were part of the lost city of Atlantis. Lost city of Atlantis is just ancient mythology talking about the pre-flood world that was there. And what was going on in the pre-flood world? You had the sons of God coming into the daughters of men. The sons of God in the Old Testament are a reference to angels. You say, it's the sons of Seth. It's not the sons of Seth. The sons of Seth were blessed by God. Why would God be mad because the sons of Seth were intermarrying with women? Doesn't make any sense. The sons of God, look them up in the book of Job. They are in heaven presenting themselves before God. Satan is coming also among them. And in Job 38, I believe it is, they're there singing before the foundation of the world, before the world's even created. They weren't the sons of Seth, in other words. They're angels. Now watch this video. This is very significant as to what Hitler was actually trying to form. Check this out.
Hitler proclaimed, "Humanity accomplishes a step up every 700 years, and the ultimate aim is the coming of the sons of God. All creative forces will be concentrated in a new species. It will be infinitely superior to modern man."
Wow. Isn't it interesting that that's exactly what they're still doing here in America? We need to genetically engineer people. And we could eventually get to the point where we could eliminate people having to need glasses, and we could create the Superman. And Hitler was saying the ultimate aim is to bring back the sons of God. Interesting, because in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus said, as in the days of Noah, so too shall be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. Huh. And then he talks about marriage. The sons of God, angels, are going to come back. to procreate with women. And it's going to be to create a new species. And what do we have today with the evolution theory? Well, if you evolve to a certain point, you have to become a god, don't you? Yeah. Incredible. Let's watch the next video.
Hitler took Rosenberg's idea further when he wrote, "The old beliefs will be brought back to honor again. The whole secret knowledge of nature, of the divine, the demonic. We will wash off the Christian veneer and bring out a religion peculiar to our race." As a symbol for the new religion, Hitler chose the swastika. The swastika can be found all over the world in many different cultures throughout history. From earliest times, it was the symbol of good luck in China, and to this day it remains a religious emblem in the Hindu and Buddhist faiths.
It had been carried by knights on shields as a magical protection, and it had also had connections. It was non-Christian in an overt sense. It represented the hammer of Thor, and of course Thor was a god of thunder and power and so on, a very macho, patriarchal kind of god.
Among the Norsemen, the swastika was a reminder of the Arctic sun, worshipped throughout pagan law as a bearer of life and good fortune. For Hitler, the swastika held a different meaning. He wrote, "In the swastika, we see the mission of the struggle for the victory of the Aryan man." In the operas of Richard Wagner, Hitler saw victory reenacted time and time again.
I thought that was interesting there, that parade towards the end. They had those, intertwined swastikas. It kind of looked like a QR code. I thought that was kind of interesting. But you notice he took the ancient pagan beliefs, paganism and things, and he fused it with Christian symbology. Isn't that what the modern church is doing? Yeah, absolutely. They're taking rock music, which is basically from voodoo and Santeria, as well as the druidic witches, and they're taking that music, the drum beats and the rhythm and the everything else, and they're combining it with Christian lyrics to create this morphed pagan Christian type of a world. And they say, we have to bring in unchurched Sam, let's bring in the lost to win the lost, let's be like the lost to win the lost, let's, all this stuff. Same thing that Hitler was doing there, to create a new religion. What did Rick Warren say? Whatever it takes to bring about the global transformation of Christianity. And Rick Warren brings in the pagan moon cult of Islam, Allah being their moon god. He brings that in, and he also brings in the Daniel plan, this health thing, and he brings in a pagan like Dr. Oz, a lost man. But it's for your health. It's for your well-being. See? And look at the World Council of Churches, the ecumenical councils and things like that. They're bringing all religions together. Just like Hitler did. Very interesting. Now watch this next video. We'll see something else very interesting.
With the rituals of his new religion in place, Hitler unleashed the next step of his plan. He wrote, "Force without spiritual foundation is doomed to failure."
We better get a hold of that one. Force without spiritual foundation is doomed to failure. If you're an atheist watching this thing, you have a spiritual foundation. You have a system of faith. And that faith is believing that God does not exist, believing that the Bible is not true. See, everybody has some kind of a spiritual belief system, a spiritual foundation. You're going to worship something. You say, I don't worship anything. You worship money, or you worship fame, or you worship fornication, or something like that. Everybody worships something. But Hitler knew, for him to have the kind of force that he wanted, him to have the kind of military power that he wanted, he had to have a spiritual foundation. Think about that. For the coming Antichrist kingdom to be what it needs to be, there needs to be a spiritual foundation. And you don't start building that foundation when the Antichrist arrives. You build it years before he arrives, to create that fanatical cult of personality that will be the Antichrist system. Just incredible. Now watch this next one. This one's incredible too.
It is a nationalism which determines everything. Your whole lifestyle, yes? Your whole thoughts, yeah? Everything. The centerpiece of it, if you like, is that you are willing to sacrifice yourself for your fatherland.
Indoctrination into the Nazi faith, with Hitler as God, began early and continued into adulthood. Adolf Hitler is our savior, our hero. He is the noblest being in the whole wide world. For Hitler we live. For Hitler we die. Hitler is our Lord. In 1933, the party took over all Germany's youth organizations. For girls, the compulsory organization was the League of German Maids, where they were taught self-sacrifice, to marry young, and that their bodies belonged to the nation. Ten-year-old boys became members of the Organization of Young German People. At 14, they joined the Hitler Youth, and at 18, the Nazi Party. At each stage, they were taught the Nazi creed of sacred blood rituals, racial superiority, and total allegiance to Hitler, even to the death.
I was in the Hitler Youth until I was 18. We were being taught, and I believed in it, that it was great to fight for our country, and if necessary, to die for our country.
And of course you can see the exact same thing happening today. You know, it's disgusting. You know, these children are saying to Hitler like he's their God. And when the Antichrist shows up, it's going to be the same thing. Because people will believe that he is God. Okay? And of course this thing of worshiping Hitler and dying for him if necessary. You know, you're going to see the same thing happening in the future. And already these children, as I've been stating throughout this video, children already are being taught, you know, I'm going to fight until I die. Like we saw in that modern CCM VBS program. Really, really, really bad. Let's watch another video here.
Himmler was born a Catholic, but by the time he met Hitler, he was already a confirmed occultist.
Big surprise there, you know, he's born a Catholic and now he's an occultist, you know. Or well, back then he was an occultist. Catholicism, occultism, it's pretty much the same thing. It's kind of synonymous. Most Catholics have no idea what they're really part of. But, many Catholics start out innocent, with going to their priest and their confessional and everything else. And as they get older and they really start to study the occult and they start to study things, they realize what Catholicism really is. It's ancient mystery Babylon. Okay? The oldest form of occultism in the world. And so these people, they come and they're raised Catholic and then they turn into the occult. Well, it's just because they're realizing what they are. Another good example would be John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. He was a occultist, a high-ranking occultist, and a very, very devout Catholic. But that's a subject for another study. I don't know when we'll be getting around to that, but we'll see. And I want you to notice here, this guy, I think, is the grandson of Richard Wagner, which was mentioned earlier. Hitler would use Richard Wagner's music, a lot in his rallies and things to get people going. But he says, the music is absolutely, has the effect of a drug, completely eliminating the intellectual, the critical approach. Okay? Think about that as we go through this study here and we watch this VBS stuff, where this music is just, it's repetitious, it's just, and it eliminates the critical approach. It has the effect of a drug. Okay? Watch what this Wagner guy says.
The music is absolutely, has the effect of a drug, completely eliminating the intellectual, the critical approach.
You better be real careful with the kind of music that you're listening to. And I apologize for playing some of this music in here, but it's important for me to show just how bad things are. I didn't realize how bad things have gotten, when I began this study and I started to watch this stuff, and I was just shocked and quite frankly appalled at what is passing off as music today for the youth. It's mind control. They use the same words, they repeat it over and over and over and over again. And Hitler used that exact same thing. Why? To eliminate the intellectual, to eliminate critical thinking. Critical thinking is not going to be part of the coming New World Order. Those who think critically are actually going to be called terrorists. You better go along with the program. If you don't, and if you question, you're a terrorist. We might need to come and look and study you and make sure that you're not dangerous. And if you are dangerous, you'll have to send you to a re-education camp. Yep, it's been done in the past. It's going to be done again. But let's take a look here and remember a couple of things, okay? This is a modern-day VBS song, and you're going to hear it later on. I think I have a clip of it later on. A Baptist church is actually using this exact song and this exact program for VBS for their children. Okay? But notice a couple things here. You're going to want to notice that they used the mixed kindreds. Okay? You're going to see that. And I'm not going to play the whole song, but the fact of the matter is, if you listen to the whole song, they never mention Jesus. Okay? And they tell the children to have, quote, no fear, no doubt. Even though the Bible says in Psalm 19 verse 9, the fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. Psalm 34 verse 11, this is very interesting, says, come ye children, hearken unto me, I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Children should be taught to fear God. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Now, if you're going to teach children at Vacation Bible School, shouldn't you teach them to have fear of God? Fear of changing things that God has said this is the way it's supposed to be? Yeah, you should be teaching them that. But you get the kids into this neat little song and, oh, it's so neat, it really exalts the flesh and everything, and you just repeat this these mindless lyrics over and over and over again to create a sense of suggestibility, so that then now the brain is soft and you can go in there and you can program that child to be a soldier in the coming Antichrist army. Watch the video. I apologize in advance. And of course you just go on and you repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. You know. But it's just, it's so disgusting. And again, these children would not be dancing if they actually feared God. Okay? So what's the solution? They're not being taught to fear God. They're not being taught, hey, you know what? Dressing immodestly like that, putting on those little tight pants and things and dancing around, moving your body, is going to get you in trouble later on in life. Hey, young ladies, if you dress like that and you look like that, you're not going to gain the respect of a man. Okay? What you're going to gain is the lust of a man. And he's going to do whatever he can to get you into bed and fornicate with you. Or the back seat of a car, or back behind the bushes, or wherever he can get you to. Alright? That's the way it is. This is not a movement of God. I can tell you right now. This modern VBS system is wicked as the devil. Now let's continue here. And again, we're going to see here, it talks about it's time for us to lift God up and for us to get down. Very interesting there, because Daniel chapter 3 verses 4 through 7 says, Then an herald cried aloud, To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down. You know, for us to get down, let's get down, man. Fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. Huh. Lift God up and we fall down? Oh, no tie in there, I'm sure, yeah. Verse 6. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And notice there it said that all the people, all the nations, the languages. So what do we have here? Well, Nebuchadnezzar was the king of the very first New World Order. And he had all the people coming together. All the different kindreds coming together. And he played music and said, let's get down, man. Let's fall down. And we'll raise our God up. Here we go. I apologize again for the music.
When you hear the sound of our music.
going to the bathroom and losing my lunch or something there. But yeah. Notice a couple things there. They said it's hard to resist when you hear the sound of our music, of our praises. Why would it be hard to resist the sound of music? Because of beat. And what happens when there's beat? Does the flesh stay still, or does it jump, 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 jump? I mean, this stuff is so elementary, it's so ridiculous, it's just right in your face. Evil. It's just incredible. But let's look at a couple pictures here. There you have It's Hard to Resist. When you hear the sound, again, the guy with the pentagram on his shirt, of our music, of our praises. Yeah, sure. And then he says here, God is great, you know, and His love never ends. Really? God's love never ends for the person who dies in their sins without Jesus Christ and they go to hell and burn forever? Is that God's love? No. In the time of Jacob's trouble, when somebody takes the mark of the beast, does God's love end for that person? Oh, God is great and His love never ends. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Don't you just feel so warm and cuddly? God's love ends. All right? It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. Why are these children not being taught this? Again, the parents are supposed to be teaching the children, but let's just say, okay, the parents aren't available, whatever. Then why aren't you teaching them the truth? Why are you lying to these children? Why? To form the Antichrist army. To tell the children, God's love never ends for you. Take the mark. Be part of the Antichrist army. God still loves you, no matter what you've done. Hey, children, you can go out and sin as much as you want, and God still loves you. God can wreck your life if you're saved. God can kill you. He can make you sick. He can do all sorts of horrible things to you. You need to fear God. And if you don't fear God, you have serious problems. Very serious problems. This is not a movement of the Lord. And if you haven't woken up yet, I mean, you need to check your pulse. I mean, good night. Now let's go on to the next vexing video. He says here, it's going to start out, it says, yeah, we're all in this together and we're having fun. All in this together. All nations becoming one. Notice the integrated people that you're going to see in this video. All the different races coming together. Notice it. We're all in this together and we're having fun. We're here to spread the love of God to everyone. Isn't that wonderful? Going to get a little crazy and a little wild. Here we go now. Come, give it a try. That's what they sing. Notice here, we're going to spread the love of God to everyone. Okay? By doing what? By preaching the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ? Oh, no, not that. No, we're going to get a little crazy and a little wild. In other words, you're going to lose control of your flesh and act like an imbecile, act like an animal, and that's the way you spread God's love. Here we go.
Come on, clap your hands. Here we go. That's it. Yeah, we're all in this together and we're having fun. We're here to spread the love of God to everyone. Gonna get a little crazy, yeah, a little wild. Here we go now, come give it a try. Move it to the left now. Move it to the right. Find someone you don't know and give them a high five. Stomp your feet louder. Yeah, you guys are doing awesome. Wave your hands up high.
Let me just show you here quickly, slow motion video. Look at the main singer coming up here. Both hands giving the satanic salute. These people are Satanists. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is the movement of the Antichrist right here. The Antichrist is going to one day be worshipped. Where do you worship? In houses of worship. What are they called today? Churches. I repeat this thing over and over and over again. You have to wake up. If you're in one of these places, leave it. Get out. It's so insane. Oh, well, brother, I don't know if I can agree. Well, can't do much for you. Okay? It's just ridiculous. And again, you see the thing there of all the different children. They're all different races and things, and they're all coming together, high-fiving each other and having a good time and everything. And again, you know, just another thing. Why aren't these young ladies being taught modest apparel? They're wearing skin-tight clothing. Why? Why? Why are they not being told, don't be worldly, don't look like the world, don't act like the world? What's going on here? Why? This is the Antichrist movement right here. Don't get all excited and rip on Nazi Germany when you aren't going to come and attack the modern church movement. Nazi Germany was mild in comparison to what's going on today in the average modern church. Mild. And if you think Hitler killed a lot of people, wait till you see what the Antichrist army does. I won't be here, thank you very much, I'm leaving, you know, because I'm saved and the Lord's going to take me up before the Antichrist even shows up. And you too if you're saved. If you're lost, you're going to have a time of it. Well, let's go on to the next one here. Again, more vexation. And this is a Western VBS theme, and they say, we're going to ride with Jesus Christ. Okay? And again, watch these immodestly dressed young women. And they're going to be riding with Jesus Christ. And just like, oh, we're cool with Jesus. And even just the thing of saying, I want to ride with Jesus Christ. Just like he's this cool dude or something like that. Not the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the God of heaven, the God of the universe. You know, again, no fear, no reverence. Watch this one.
We're gonna ride, we're gonna ride, we're gonna ride with Jesus Christ. Round to be friends, we're on a quest, we're heading out in the wild, wild west. Just like folks in olden days, we're gonna follow God together. Jesus Christ is the same, yesterday, today, and forever. Let's all meet at the Sunwest Roundup, stomp your feet and shout, yeehaw! Saddle up with the Sunwest Roundup, we're gonna ride, we're gonna ride. Bring your friends to the Sunwest Roundup, grab your hat.
Yes, bring your friends to the Sunwest Roundup because we want them to come to our Bible building here so we can get their parents to come and then we can get their money. Oh, they wouldn't do a thing like that though, right? Sure. And it goes on to show this VBS thing. It says, oh, I'll follow wherever he leads. And looky there, you got the inverted pentagram. Huh. Interesting. You say, well, Brian, it's a sheriff's star. Yeah, it's also an inverted pentagram. Now let's go on to the next one. And again, look at the New World Order. All people coming together. We're all one. We're all one big happy family. The people are as one, like it says back in Genesis chapter 10. Look at it again. Okay? Look at all the, and did you see the Western thing there? Now, out West, it was mostly white people. Okay? Talking about historical things here, people. I'm not talking racial supremacy or anything. I'm not talking about that. Look it up in your history books. They were whites that went out West. Whites and Indians. It wasn't all the different kindreds going out there. Why are they showing it? For the same reason I've been talking to you about. The Antichrist army is going to be all nations coming together. Watch it again. Here we go.
In a world of many problems, it's hard to know what to do. But Jesus came to show us, no matter the problem, He will come through. He said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. I believe that Jesus has the power. Well, I believe He's stronger than anything. Well, I believe that Jesus has the power. He has overcome and He can do anything.
And of course here you're seeing, I'll show you this picture quick. They're coming out in front of a World War II memorial, showing all the different nations. What's the implied underlying message there? You know, notice it's all the different kindreds there too. You have a Oriental girl there, you have a white girl, you have a white guy, you have an Oriental guy, you know, black person there and stuff. What's going on? What's going on there? Well, you see they're showing, let's hand the world to each other. We're all one, after all. We need to put aside our petty differences and all come together and be one. That's exactly what they're doing. This is the Antichrist movement. And it's being done to the youth. And we're going to see a little bit later on where it goes back to we'll go back to the Nazi youth thing again, and I'm going to show you the reason that they're putting this propaganda towards the youth is the same reason they did it back with the Nazis, and that is because the youth don't have the mind to discern between right and wrong yet. They don't have that mind to say, wait a second here, I'm being propaganda being put on me. So you get into the mind of the youth and you can brainwash them very easily. That's why Jesus Christ warned about offending little ones. And He said it's better for you that a millstone be hanged about your neck and you're drowned in the depth of the sea rather than offend a little one. Jesus knew that people go after little children. Just like the Catholic priests go and molest little children and things like that. See, this movement is very, very evil. Just incredible. Now next we're going to look here at the North Side Baptist Church. Show you here. Show the slowed down thing. There you see it. North Side Baptist Church. Alright. These are Baptists. Okay, you can say, oh, wicked modern, you know, and stuff like this. They're Baptists that are doing this stuff now. And don't tell me, oh, it's probably a modern Baptist. Yeah, probably it is. But I'll tell you right now, there are conservative Baptists that are doing the same type of stuff. The same types of thing of bringing fun activities in and extra, you know, whatever else. This stuff is going on like crazy. Check this out. Pause it there for a minute. you know, Baptists, okay? Heavy metal, you know, heavy beat, heavy driving beat. And again, it's fun, and oh, you got to scream and you got to act like a little animal. And then you wonder why children misbehave. It's incredible. And again, you know, I've seen this stuff in conservative, independent, King James only, Bible-believing Baptist churches. I've seen this kind of stuff. The children are taught to scream and yell and lose control of themselves. Why is this stuff being done? But here's you say, why, Brian? Well, watch this next video. This is golden, okay? This proves my point, all right? Look up 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 sometime. Okay? Watch this.
I want to live my life with courage. I want to live with confidence. I want to...
Had to pause it again. Don't you just love that? Big table full of money. Oh, hi. Uh-huh. What do you think VBS is, people? Get the children in from the community, and get their parents to come. Then you get more money. Say, oh, Brian, not that. Anything but that. Yeah, sure, keep telling yourself that. Back to it here. So, again, we see this thing of change my heart, O God, by making me dance and lose control of my body. How's that a change? How have you changed your life when you're dancing and acting and dressing just like the lost world? The Bible says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. You know, I'm going to be doing my testimony in the future, but if you'd seen me years ago, I actually had a Christian witness to me. Why? I was wearing all black, heavy metal t-shirt on, skulls and things like that, long hair. You say, what happened when you got saved? Oh, brother, I continued in it, didn't I? No, you see, my life changed, but my outward attire, my appearance also changed. I wanted to look like a man. I wanted to act like a man. I wanted to read the Bible and say, you know what? What does God want for me? I'm going to change my life and look like that. And this music that I used to like, I mean, that's garbage, but, you know, the music, the heavy metal and the beat and stuff like that, I hate it. I hate it. It drives me crazy. And you know the same thing I'm talking about right now. If you're watching this, you're vexed by this music. You know? And you know, you can feel the flesh, the draw of the flesh going, oh, you know, but the spirit, it's vexing. Very vexing. Why are Baptists giving children this kind of music? Interesting. But let's watch one more little clip here of this Baptist church. It's just disgusting. Here we go. Okay, number of big problems here. Did you see one modestly dressed woman there? I didn't see any. Not one modestly dressed woman there teaching these children. Why is that? Interesting. But think about what they're saying. When you dare to believe in Jesus Christ, it's the ride of your life. And what's the ride that they're referring to? Adventure park. It's exciting. It's fun. It's this really cool, hip thing. Is serving Jesus Christ a neat thing? Oh yeah, sure. But there are times it is very depressing, you know, because you're getting kicked by family, you're getting kicked by friends, you're getting kicked by everybody. You know, you're an outcast in society. You're made as the offscouring of the world, the Bible talks about. Jesus was a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. You're going to ride with Jesus Christ? Okay, then you're going to be a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. Oh, but no, it's a ride of your life. It's exciting. You see the problem with this? You don't dare miss it, man. Salvation is such a neat thing, and oh, it's great, and it's wonderful. It's just such a cool thing. Why don't you tell them the truth? Why don't you tell them the truth how Christians, by the millions, back during the Dark Ages, how they were tortured to death? Why don't you tell them about that? Why don't you show them pictures of the martyrs being burned at the stake and say, this is coming again. In fact, they're going to behead believers in the time of Jacob's trouble. Could we see some of that before the rapture? I have no idea. It's possible. But you see, you tell the little kiddies that it's a good time. Christianity is the most wonderful time that you'll ever have. And then they get out there and they go to their public school or wherever and they say, I'm a Christian now. And kids make fun of them. And they go, oh, that's not the ride of my life anymore. I guess I ought to quit. It's a system that's doomed to failure. Disgusting. But let's watch another Christian VBS program. And see, these are programs, by the way, that you can buy for your Babel building and put it on there for the kiddies. It comes with all the materials and everything else, you know. Because in most Babel buildings, it's a sin to come up with your own materials. You know, you have to go with, pre-recorded, pre-made Sunday school materials that you don't dare depart from. That's another thing. You know, I've been to Baptist, independent fundamental Baptist buildings before, and I know of guys that were teaching Sunday school and they were departing from the literature and they got in trouble for it. My one friend, he was like, well, can't I just teach the Bible? No, because that could lead to heresy. And this doesn't. But let's look here at another VBS, Sunday school program. Check this one out.
Sitting at the table, pencil in my hand, doing a little homework, running on the soccer field, kicking the ball around, riding my bike, popping a wheelie, skidding around the corner, chasing my friends around, having a good old time.
Every little thing I do, I will do it for your glory, Jesus. Every little thing I do, and I will do it for your glory, Lord.
Picking through Lego, building a castle, show it to mom or dad, learning to play guitar, one chord at a time.
You say, what was that, Brian? Was that a Methodist one? No. Was it Baptist? No. Actually, it was a Roman Catholic VBS program. You say, no, come on. Well, if you looked at the symbol there in the background and on the kid's t-shirt, here it is. A radical ride on the wings of prayer with amazing angels and super saints. Isn't that wonderful? Well, if you're a Satanist, I guess it would be, but if you're a Bible-believing Christian, no, it's not wonderful. But you see, same things. Same things going on. The music, the beat, boom, the boom, the boom, the boom. The rhythm. Watch my study on the devil and music, and you'll see that rhythm exalts the flesh. And it's the same thing. It sounds just like the other VBS programs. And the kids all doing dancing in rhythm and dancing in harmony and stuff. Just incredible. And yet people they'll still defend this stuff.